Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. In the guitar community, it's often said that guitars are investments. Investments in your future and sometimes even monetary investments. There's guys who email me and say, hey, what's the best guitar that I could buy as an investment? Okay, I'm gonna burst your guys' bubbles here. Guitars are not investments, but they are a good store of value. And what I mean by that, in my experience, a guitar rarely actually appreciates more so than the inflation rate of whatever currency that you're buying the guitar in. Like right now, we're in a really hot market for guitars. And it's not just guitars, it's cars, it's pretty much everything. So you're seeing prices go up mainly because the value of your currency is going down. Now, this is not financial advice or anything, but Gibson has partnered with Rally to treat prototype guitars as stocks. I don't know how to feel about this one. I'm sure it'll be successful, but it kind of boggles my mind. It doesn't make sense to me. So before we dive too much into this, let's learn about this new cooperation. Alright, so on Gibson's website at hello.gibson.com/rally, it shows you the guitars that they're going to offer up for partial ownership. And these are 3 artist signature prototypes from the Gibson Vault. Okay, so what they're doing here is they're going to sell individual people shares of this guitar. Now, I don't think you can actually, purchase these shares and then go to the Gibson Vault where these will continue to be stored and play it. Now, if that was an offering, then yeah, it would make complete sense. But they're saying each share is about $5 at the starting date. And then just like a stock, the price is going to fluctuate. But what has me flabbergasted here is they are saying this prototype guitar is worth $65,000. And I just do not see it at all. Yes, I get it. It's a prototype of a limited edition guitar that they only made 125 of. In fact, I actually reviewed and demoed one of these. Mine had a defect that it needed sent back, which was rather unfortunate. It was quite a cool guitar. But I'll be the first to say, commercially, this was a flop of a model. It did not sell well in stores. Here we are, years later, you can still buy these things brand new, and that is just unheard of for a super ultra limited edition with Slash's name on it. And I think some of it had to do with the price tag. Brand new, they were $13,299. But you have to remember, this is a prototype guitar. You can track the individual sales of regular models to help you gauge it, but at the end of the day, if they're judging this off of completed sales, there's no other ones like it. Generally, there are very few prototypes, and who's to say this is the only one ever? Because generally, there's a few prototypes of each model, but are they just gonna put the other ones out there and sell them? I don't know. So generally, a prototype can sell for as much as 2 to 2.5 times the initial retail value of these guitars right away. Now, when you get it like 20, 30, 40 years down the line, then yes, things can completely change. So to realistically price this guitar, I would think $25,000 would be well above and beyond. Like, I think it might even be hard to sell at that. But the price at 2.5 times that, it's like, I just don't get it. Because we can look on the market today, as I was showing you these brand new ones right here you can still get, but you can get this guy selling serial number 1 for only $21,000, and this thing has sat for a long time. I remember this was listed just shortly after these things came out. Yeah, 2 years ago, and not a single taker for number 1. I mean, come on, guys. This is number 1, supposedly the one used in the actual Slash promotional video for this whole guitar. And if it can't sell for 21, I don't think a prototype is going to do all that much better. I mean, prototypes are cool, but honestly, I think number 1s are even cooler because you actually have to find it out there. Same thing with the prototypes, but previous to the new Gibson ownership, prototypes were usually taken away by employees and then they sell them after like a couple of years. And that's how a lot of those got out into the public hands. But finding number 1, you have to find the dealer that got it and secure it from them. So it's kind of like a fun treasure hunt. But then miraculously, you have over here, number 2. That's fantastic. Now, unfortunately, this shop, they didn't look at Reverb to see where number 1 actually is. Slash does not own number 1. But this one being number 2, under brand new retail price, I think it's a great deal. If you want one of these anyways. And then there's various other price points on other used ones. So $65,000 market cap, just in case you're not familiar with what market cap means. That's what they use in the stock world to find out how much a company could potentially be worth. And then they sell shares based on that. So they're expecting about 13,000 people to want to own a share of this guitar, which there's certainly enough guitar fans out there, but what I don't understand is after the initial offering date, they're going to say that the price of this guitar is going to fluctuate like a stock. It could go up and then you could sell your share for a profit, or it could go down. But that doesn't really make sense for guitars in my opinion. This guitar's value is going to stay pretty darn constant, I would say, for the foreseeable future. I just don't understand how they can do this with the guitar. Because not all sales are publicly recorded. Like, you go onto Reverb, I'm sure more than just this one has been sold. I've been noticing Reverb has been purging sold listings lately. But this was a used one for $10,000. That's about how much these generally end up selling for on the used market. Here's one currently for sale for $10,500 with no takers yet. And even if somehow they are tracking the sales of used versions of these guitars, who's making up these numbers? I just don't get it. Guitar collecting makes much more sense when one guy buys it, because then when he puts it up for sale next, that's what dictates this. So if they're not actually offering this guitar for sale and like actively taking offers, maybe I don't fully understand this program. Maybe that's how the price is going to change based off of a real offer that they have. But if they sell the guitar, then they've destroyed what they've done here. I just don't understand this one. But they also have two other guitars that they plan on doing this exact same thing with. The next one we'll talk about is the Adam Jones 1979 Les Paul Custom Aged and Signed Silverburst prototype. Okay, now this one I can understand a little bit because that guitar took off. Brand new, the Aged and Signed was only $10,000 and pretty much instantly on the used market, an easy $20,000 to $25,000. So it instantly became twice as valuable. Now, they don't have this pricing listed on the Rally website at this point in time, but I did see on a Guitar World article that they had the approximate prices on it. And for the Adam Jones, they're valuing it at $95,000. No, like, I could see the ultimate Adam Jones Tool fan paying maybe, just maybe $50,000, and I think that is a big push. But to value it at double that seems to be what they did. They just valued all these at 2 times what a realistic market value could be. I mean, I've got guys giving me a hard time about listing my Carina Explorer, the one of 18, the only one that's shown up for public sale, for $65,000. Yeah, it's a high price, but as soon as I sell that guitar, I cannot get it back. And I honestly don't want to sell it, but I have had offers very close to that amount. But that's struggling 2 times retail. So at nearly 10 times retail for the prototype, I just do not see it. Because if anything, the value of the used Adam Jones guitars has actually gone down. Now granted, not by a lot, but we're actually seeing a very interesting turn of events here. The available market on these guitars is starting to shrink down to almost nothing. Right now, we only have 3 Aged and Signs competing for people's attentions. There are 0 VOS left on the market, even though there was 179 of those made. So if you have a VOS and you're wanting to get top dollar for it, now is the time because there's not another one for sale. The only time the prices start to go down is when people are competing against each other here. So like this guy's down to 18. I've been seeing the market for the Aged Sign to sit between 16 to 20,000. Not as many buyers above the 20K mark right now. But once again, once these things all sell out, nobody's selling them, that's when new precedents can be set. It's funny how the VOS are starting to actually go up in value now, because they shot off right away, then they started to come down as there was a whole bunch on the market, but now that they're gone, they're starting to go back up. So out of all the 3 of the guitars that they're offering you to own a share in, I guess the Adam Jones one makes the most sense, but again, I don't understand how they're going to say a price of a guitar is going to fluctuate like a stock. I'm sure there are much better investments that you could make. And then the third one is the Tony Iommi Monkey SG Special prototype. This one's back in the news again because, hey, they're doing the USA version released of this. But the custom shops, those are old. You can check out this review and demo and enjoy this B-roll as I talk about it. These guitars were ridiculously expensive. $20,000 brand new. And they're saying it's worth $65,000. Now granted, these were very limited edition, but even today, you can find brand new ones still available in left-handed format. and the right-handed ones have kind of gone up more in value. But there's low serial numbers like number 3 if you wanted to buy it for a premium. But at the end of the day, this is the one that makes the most sense with their evaluation. I mean, it's still higher than I would think. I honestly think the prototype of this guitar would be worth about $30,000 to $35,000 in today's market. But this is the one closest to their guesstimate, so at least it has that going for it. So let's learn a little bit more about this website. So essentially what they do is they source and verify noteworthy items from collections and individuals all over the world. So in this case, it's prototype electric guitars from Gibson. But then legally, they turn that item into a company, and then they split it into equity shares. And then they hold that whole initial offering where investors all over can purchase how many shares that they want, and then it just kind of goes up or down in value, kind of like a stock. And then after 90 days, the investors then have a chance to sell their shares in the app or buy more on trading days through a registered broker. Okay, so the whole flagship model for this thing is a Pokemon card set from 1999. That kind of makes sense to me that you could own a share of, because the cards values, like there's a whole set of them. Some of them are going to go up, some of them are going to go down. Guys like me who grew up with these things, you know, it might seem silly to the older generation that we're paying as much as we do for these graded cards. But in the reality, there is a market that's constantly trading and exchanging. There's known examples and is documented all the time. Or something like the Megalodon jaw. That's kind of similar, but that's a piece of history. It just depends how much it actually fetches at an auction to see how much it's worth. It'll go up over time. Same thing with like a Declaration of Independence right here. Here's a sweet sealed copy of Super Mario Bros. That you can invest in. Again, they're talking about a breaking market sale. Those are usually public auctions where people see sealed ones sell for crazy money, like a Nintendo World Championships or the legendary gold cart. Things like that, I could see a stock-like investment type thing making sense. But then you go over to guitars, it's not quite as documented. These limited edition rare pieces don't trade hands as often. So I don't see how they're saying how the price will actually fluctuate. It feels like they're just making up numbers. I wish them luck, but this makes absolutely 0 sense to me. You'd be better off in the S&P 500. Because if you're going to treat guitars as stores of value and hope that they do go up, more so than inflation, you're better off just owning it. Like, I think Gibson would have a much better result if they did this as like a lottery raffle. Now, I know it's hard to get the legal backing behind that, but if anybody can do it, it could be Gibson, where they will give you a 1 in 13,000 chance to win this guitar by paying them $5. I could see that being a very successful business model if you get the legal stuff down. Because then, yeah, the sky's the limit. You could get way more money for these guitars than they're worth, because everybody's only paying $5 and one guy's gonna win, the rest of them are gonna lose, but hey, it was just $5. It's worth it for the pipe dream. That's why people play the lottery all the time. So I will be interested to hear your guys' thoughts down in the comments section. Am I missing something here? I mean, apparently this site has something going for it. Maybe it's like the art market where it just doesn't make sense, because at the end of the day, a prototype is worth whatever somebody will pay for it. But you can look to see what other models are selling for to kind of gauge what it might be. The way I feel about this is if Gibson wants to sell these things for $65,000, $95,000 and whatnot, just put them on their website. I'm sure some rich collector that really doesn't care about money and just wants the coolest guitar that he can buy would take it. I mean, they're proving that with the demo shop. There's some stuff that I never thought would sell, like those Murphy Labs ones that were listed for $20,000, which I thought was high, but they ended up disappearing. I don't know if they sold or if they sold at a discount, but they're no longer on their shop. So that's something to think about, and I guess if you're interested in investing in these, you can download the Rally app and own a share of the guitar. Here's what I fear, though. The last time guitars are investments guys came into the market and hyped everything up, the whole market crashed. Maybe we should slow down on this stuff. You should invest in a guitar because you like the guitar, you enjoy its history, you like what it represents, and it's an original. If it plays and sounds good, if it goes up in value, fantastic. But you really shouldn't think of them as something that will go up in monetary value. I think I will leave you guys on that today. Oh, and if you thought this was crazy, Fender teamed up with Barbie. It's a new Barbie movie. I guess it's with their whole Fender Play thing, but they've got one of their instructors here with a Barbie shirt and one of her Stratocasters. I mean, it was unexpected. It's kind of funny, but at the end of the day, I get it. They're trying to get a way for their younger audience to, like, if they see Barbie playing this guitar in the movie, they'll want a structured way to learn, and Fender Play is one of many options online. It's structured, you sign up, and then they kind of just teach you from there. So it makes sense, but I can't say I blame them for keeping this video unlisted. Thank you, Troglodytes, for tuning in today. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will catch you tomorrow on the next episode. Take care.